Alrighty, everybody. Since it is 5:35, we're gonna go ahead and get started. First, I'm gonna start by introducing myself. I'm Carrie Williams, and I am the director of Spotlight. So, any of you guys who are applying to the competition, I'm assuming most of you guys have businesses that you're here and wanting to learn about the competition itself, or just have different business questions. Those things you can always feel free to reach out to me at the center. You can call Young Americans and ask for Carrie, or you can email me. I'm the person who's been emailing your parents about tonight and all the different things about Spotlight so far, so they should have my email already. But yes, that's who I am. The way things are going to run tonight, we are going to have Shouken and Garret. They are our panelists tonight. They're going to be talking about their businesses and their experiences and then asking some questions or answering some questions. And so after they introduce themselves, tell a little bit about their story, I have some questions that were asked by the collective, which is our group of students who have all applied for Spotlight in the past, and they just get to kind of network with each other, get some different exclusive content on the collective, and then yep. So they got answered or they asked these questions, and I will ask them to our panelists. They'll get some answers going, and then after that, if there's time that permits, we'll take live questions from you guys throughout the talk. If you have questions at all, do you guys see on the bottom right of your screen, there should be a little grid of dots that says meeting tools. If you click on that, there is a little section that says Q&A. So you can click on that and then you can ask your questions throughout. Sydney is here from Young Americans as well, and she will be checking an eye on that, keeping an eye on that. And then if there are questions she knows, she might just go ahead and type out an answer to you. But if there are more specific questions for Garret or Shouken, then we'll wait till that time and then we'll read them out for them. Yes, Ellie, did you have something?
I do not like find the Q&A section.
Okay.
I don't know where it is.
If you're on your phone, I might not know exactly where it is, but when we get to that time, you can just do that same thing, raise your hand, and I'll call on you. Perfect. Alrighty. So, any more questions before we get started? We feel like we're ready to have some fun, learn from some very successful businessmen among us. Okay, awesome. Garret or Shouken, whoever wants to kick us off, go for it. Just go ahead and give us your little spiel about yourself and your business.
For sure, yeah, I can get us started off. So, thank you for the introduction, Carrie. My name is Garret Eisenman, and so I am currently 18 years old. And Ellie, I can see that, so that can work for Q&A. But I'm currently 18 years old, and I'm first year student at CU Boulder, up in Boulder, obviously. So I graduated high school last year, and I founded my business, Denver Sneakers LLC, when I was 14 in 2020. So that was my freshman year of high school. And so essentially how it started off was I was really passionate about shoes to the point that I would mow lawns all summer just to be able to save up enough money to buy myself a pair of shoes. And from this, I learned how valuable these sneakers can be, and that if I could figure out a way to purchase them for cheaper than what I was buying them for, I would be able to make money doing something that I really enjoy and I would want to do anyway. So that really inspired me to really put in the extra effort and do a lot of research about shoes and the market in general and figure out if this is something that was actually worth doing and that I would be able to make money off of. So from this, I discovered that there was a sneaker release the next week that I would be able to wait in line outside of a Foot Locker overnight to be able to get shoes at a cheap price or the retail price. And so I did that and sold my first shoe from there. And after that, I just fell in love with being able to do something that I'm actually passionate about while working and making a living. And from there, it just really scaled. I focused on being able to expand my customer base and become really reputable within the industry. I tried to figure out ways that I'm able to make myself more visible when people are looking to buy shoes. And from that, I was able to grow the business and expand out of my parents' house to be able to get a warehouse and employees. And I've been able to scale it a lot, being able to do something I love. So I'm really grateful for Young Americans, who are some of the people that initially got me thinking about this from a business perspective and not just a hobby. And yeah, Spotlight was really good for me, and it helped me learn a lot. And the mentor I got assigned after winning really helped me grow my business and figure out what I should be focusing on to expand. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to come talk to you guys.
Thanks, Garrett. Shouken, if you want to go ahead and give your talk too.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Shouken Lopez. I'm currently 22, but I started off, to start, my background primarily right now is software. I started off at 12 with drop shipping. I had a decent amount of success there, was making a couple $1,000s as a teenager. Eventually transitioned on to several other different online money space businesses. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but social media marketing was also really popular at that time. There were other online businesses along there. Similarly, I then eventually transitioned into sneaker reselling as well. So basically using software to purchase these high demand and limited items because they sell out within seconds. So you had to use software to purchase them quickly. There I was really introduced to the leverage of utilizing software to basically scale your business. And after sneaker reselling kind of died a little bit, I transitioned into Amazon FBA, which is basically buying products for cheaper on other marketplaces and selling them on Amazon. And then using software, I realized that software was really underutilized in that space. So I made a software that basically sources products for me for my Amazon business. And using that, I scaled my business and my friend's business to 20K a month. So it's doing all right, but I'm also doing other software things on the side as well.
Perfect. Thanks for those little overviews of your businesses. And we'll get into some of the questions that were pre-asked, and then we can get into some of you guys' questions live. I see some of them coming in the chat, in the Q&A box. So we'll definitely get to those as they come up. Keep sending them in, and we'll get to them. So the first question that was asked from the collective was, do you guys think that there's a specific aspect of your business that is unique or helps you stand out from other businesses? How did you then go on and highlight that in your application in a way that you think might have helped make you be more successful in that process?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the main factors that helped me stand out is probably just the knowledge and background I had in the industry. And I really knew every little part of every sneaker and how to authenticate it. I would know the market prices for every shoe just by looking at it. And I feel like a big thing that contributed to that was because sneakers was something I was extremely passionate about. It's always been something that I was really interested in. I would do research for fun before I even started the business. And so I think choosing a business that you really like and really enjoy doing, even if you weren't making money from it, it's important to be able to put in the drive and be able to expand your knowledge and be the expert in your industry. And I feel like that helped me stand out in my YouthBiz application, just by kind of not only having the background in the sneaker industry, but also being able to kind of figure out how that plays into different business principles that I was learning at Young Americans, and how taking my love of sneakers, I was able to look for little gaps where there's money to be made, and using business principles that I gained from Young Americans, I was able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the software and the automation side of it. Before, me and my business partner, we basically had a team of employees that were constantly sourcing products for us. And because of my background in the sneaker botting industry, I realized that this entire process could be automated. So I basically coded software that finds profitable products for me, in a sense. And yeah, that really makes it stand out, because while other people are manually sourcing through product, it's literally just finding products overnight. So it's the automation aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool to think about how your backgrounds can use and motivate and grow your current businesses that you're working on. And so even for all of you guys, maybe it's a different skill that you have. It's not necessarily coding or knowing everything about sneakers, but having a passion to learn even more about your craft is then what can help push you on and keep you going in that. Thanks for those answers. The second question we have, and I do think I saw a similar question kind of coming in through the chat, is what's one of the most important skills or lessons that you've learned while running your business?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest skills and lessons I've gained from running my business, I didn't even realize I was learning until recently. Having started college and really starting to explore my interests and what I want to do after I graduate, I've been able to see that I've learned so many things just from running my business that has made me know a lot more about different aspects of business that I didn't even know I was learning while I was running the business. I mean, on the daily, I had to figure out how to manage order fulfillment and how orders are going to the customers, and had to figure out how to price items to be able to make sure that I'm able to cover my costs. And all these were helping me learn a lot about business as a whole just from doing something that I liked. And so I would say now, being in college, it's helped me build a lot of understanding of finance in general and how operations are able to be made more profitable. And so I feel like that's been one of the biggest skills for me that I've learned from my business.
Yeah, going off of what Garrett said, I mean, similarly, like, you just have to learn a ton of different micro skills in order to successfully run a business, between like finances, management, like inventory management and stuff like that. There's just a lot of different components. What really helped me was realizing that like everything bad that happens to your business is honestly like your fault. So you have to take control of that situation, because after all, it is your business.
Yeah, I think that's a great point of just kind of on both ends of that, how it is your business. So you're fully responsible for those, not necessarily failures, but the different learning moments you have while growing your business, but also all those successes. And that's what makes it fun about running your business. And I think that's why a lot of you guys like being entrepreneurs, because all the work that you put into it, you can see those outcomes change directly based on how much work you're putting into it. Along those lines, do you guys have somebody ask for advice on advertising? So as you guys have been growing your business and learning some of these back end sides that people don't always necessarily know about, what has been your biggest like aha moment when trying to get your business in front of more people and advertise your different items?
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things about advertising is just doing something unique and doing something that not everybody is doing in whatever market you're in. So the thing for me was, since I was so passionate about these shoes, I always wanted the coolest ones and the most expensive and the most rare ones, instead of just having a bunch of different shoes that would make me the most money. So by doing this, a lot of people became really interested in my backstory, because I was pretty young at the time, and having these extremely rare sneakers that I was the only one with, it was really shocking to them to see me have those as a kid and my knowledge and backstory behind it. So I feel like just being able to do something that's unique in a market where everyone kind of is doing the same thing, being able to do something that separates yourself apart from others will kind of naturally not only give you an advantage and let people stay with you, but also get your business in front of more people.
Yeah, I'd honestly say the exact same thing. What's also really important right now in today's day and age would definitely be content creation. So if you have a business, you should definitely be posting on as many social media platforms as possible, and try to push out as much volume as possible, because when you're just getting started, you don't really know like what good content is. And then once you see a success, then you can just replicate that.
Yeah, that's one conversation we had at our last panel, was the same thing of, as you're learning social media, and obviously maintaining age appropriate social media is super important for some of us because we're not quite 13 yet. We can't have some of those accounts, but whether it's an account that your parent has that you help run some of the ideation behind it, and then your parents are more responsible for posting, kind of staying active on that. But just kind of the more content you get out, the more you see what hits with people and what doesn't, and then you're able to kind of start tailoring and building an audience and a following. And one of those niches is what they talk about often in social media, is trying to find a way where you can create one specific thing that people are going to come back to because they know they can get that information from you. So that's super helpful. I think alongside with that, do you guys feel like you have any specific business values that through your advertising and your content and different things that you have been trying to promote? We're talking about business values on the collective, and so one of the kiddos was interested in what you guys would say your values are and how you promote that to your customers.
Yeah, I think it's definitely really important to have a strong reputation in business. When people are trusting you and using their hard-earned money to be able to buy something off you or buy your services, it's really important that they can have your trust and they can know that when they have your word on something, when you say you're going to do something, and that you do the best possible job that you can. And so I've really incorporated that into my business, making sure that I am never skipping out on things because I'm tired or doing things that might benefit me but hurt the customer. Just making sure that the customer is always first is extremely important, and is not only important ethically, but also you gain a lot more trust, which allows people to refer you to their friends without feeling like they're doing their friends a disservice, and it will help your business grow as well.
Yeah, I'd also say trust as well. It's super important, even in terms of networking, because, like, obviously you want to build relationships with people who you can trust. And, like, I have a story about this myself. Like, because I also went to CU Boulder. One of the kids I happened to meet, he was doing around $100,000 a month on Amazon at the time, and I don't know. He just happened to trust me, and together we were basically able to build, like, I don't know, multiple businesses on top of, like, what we were already doing. So, like, trust just stems into more relationships, which stems into more money for you guys too.
Yeah, I think that's great to think about. That trust goes not only for your customers, but also for any potential business partners that you might end up going into when you end up with a mentor, or even when you get older, you end up menteeing somebody. Then being able to establish trust with all of those people, maintaining consistency throughout your brand and your business is really important. Okay, I've seen a few questions come in the chat about this, so we'll move to, do you guys have, I know, Shouken, you're more on Amazon, but what does your business websites look like? Do you have websites? Do you sell on other platforms? For both of you, are you on Etsy, just Amazon, just eBay, Instagram selling? What kind of platforms are you using? If you have a website, when did you build it? Kind of what process? Did you just buy a URL? What exactly does that look like? And someone also asked if you think it's worth it being able to having to pay for a specific URL.
Yeah, definitely. So my business has definitely taken a lot of different routes on being able to sell products. So I started off just completely on Instagram. I would post things for sale on Instagram, and people would message me if they wanted to buy it. And so from there, I started going to a lot more in-person stores and sneaker conventions, and really putting my products out there by meeting more people and just going out and doing things in person. And then from there, I signed a contract with a live auction company. So what we would do is essentially sell products in real time on a live stream. And so in the contract that I signed, I had to sell exclusively on their platform. So I sold on their platform for a while, and now we are back to social media. And so I did have a website for a short time, and I think it is a great way to be able to push your business out to more people. As far as it goes, paying for a URL and paying for a custom website, I feel like if there are other ways that you haven't used yet that you can get more customers for free, that would be a good way to start. But if you've already taken advantage of all those and went to your local farmers market, if you're selling like soap or something, I don't know, that was a previous business winner. But just being able to like take advantage of the free resources you already have around you is really important. But if you've already done all that, then I think a website is a great route to go.
Yeah, so I currently sell on Amazon and Walmart. A big thing to mention is that obviously those marketplaces already have their traffic coming onto their sites. So there's benefits and like cons, I guess, to whichever route you go with. Another thing is that on people think selling on Amazon or Walmart is harder than it already is, but they're letting like everyday people create seller accounts. So don't let that like hold you back from, because I could see how if I was just getting started, applying to sell on Amazon or Walmart could be kind of like an intimidating thing, but it's honestly like a really easy process where you just fill out a form, and they already have traffic there, so there's that benefit as well. Um, in terms of is it worth it for a URL or like a domain, the question I'd honestly ask is like, are you already making money right now? Like for me personally, like I think a lot of people worry too much about like the stuff beforehand when then you'll get their first customer. So that's also really important, making sure your business itself is like an actual viable business.
Yeah, I think that's great that you both touch on, letting the business grow organically. And if you guys have reached a point where you're coming to all the youth biz marketplaces, you've reached outside, you're doing marketplaces outside of youth biz, you might even be on social media selling through those things, and you're still hungry for more places to sell, then you can start looking at paid websites, because there are free websites you guys can go out and look into and find, and different ways that you can, if you're not quite making all the money, it might not be the right time for you to start spending money on a way to make money. Start making money first, then transition into paying more money to make more money, if that makes sense. And then let's see, I think we just have one more question from the pre-asked questions, and then we'll get into all those questions you guys are sending in the chat and in the Q&A. So keep those coming. So the last one here is, how did you guys balance your business, school, friendships, family? If you guys had, part-time jobs while you were getting your business off the ground, what exactly did that look like? What were your biggest struggles through that? And how did you manage it?
Yeah, I just saw a question in the Q&A as well, asking if I started at first just for fun or to make money. And so, yeah, I did used to work a job while I was starting the business, because I was just doing it for fun. And then I had school as well. So I was definitely very busy. I didn't spend as much time with my friends as I would have hoped, because I was focusing so much time on the business. But it was because it was what I enjoyed. That is the thing that really I wanted to do with my time, and I loved doing it. And then once it got to a point where I was doing as good as my job, I was able to make that my job. But it was definitely hard to balance with school, and obviously you guys have friends and maybe you're doing extracurricular activities, but it's definitely hard to balance. So that's why it's so important to do something that you like, so it doesn't feel like you're sacrificing your time to go do this and that. You're just doing something that you like for fun anyway.
Yeah, balancing is honestly like really difficult, and even now, like I still struggle with that. The biggest thing you have to think of is kind of what are your priorities and what you're willing to sacrifice, while also like combining like scheduling and proper time management. But yeah, in order to like achieve like extraordinary things, you have to be willing to sacrifice more than other people, honestly, and that's just the truth.
Sweet. Thank you guys for answering those questions. Now I think Sydney's going to kind of take over, go through that little Q&A, sort them by who asked first and what's relevant, what we haven't answered yet. She'll start answering or asking some questions for everybody. So if you've got more questions, put them in there. Maybe do a nice little read through to make sure you're not asking the same question everybody else has. But yeah, we'll get started on those. And then we've only got about 30 minutes left, so don't worry, we'll only get through a handful more questions. We can go a little bit longer if there's a few left that we want to close up, but we're going to be super respectful to Garret and Shouken's time for being here tonight. So we'll try and keep it on time for you guys.
All right, so let's see. The first one that was asked was, Garret, maybe just give us a quick little refresher of what your business is about for Simon. And just for both of us, Shouken and Garret, about how your business handles fulfilling orders. So we know it's like online, but a little bit more specific.
Yeah, so my business started off just buying shoes, cleaning them up, and selling them for more money. And so it would either be getting a good deal on a pair of shoes if someone can sell them to me for cheaper than what they're worth, or just being able to clean them up and make them worth a little bit more money. And now it's a lot more bulk selling, and so we buy a lot of the same product for a cheaper price because we buy so many of them, and then being able to sell a lot of them to different stores and people that collect shoes. And yeah, as far as order fulfillment goes, it's a lot of shipping since we do a lot of it online. So it started off just me packaging up all the orders myself. And from there, once we started to get a lot more orders, I started hiring a few of my friends to do order fulfillment and pack boxes. And then from there, I started hiring like full-time employees.
Yeah, for me, in terms of fulfilling my orders, I started off really similarly, like just packaging them myself and then shipping them out. Eventually, once I got to that sort of volume where I needed to scale, I had friends help me with the packaging, and then after that, I split a warehouse with one of my friends, and now we have employees packaging and shipping those items out.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that. June asks, what were the hardest things in the process for you? And what is the biggest lesson you've learned? And also, we'll start with those. Like, what is your hardest thing that happened through the process, and then the biggest lesson? So it's kind of a bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, some of the hardest things have just been making mistakes, and so it's bound to happen. And so there have been several times where I've trusted people I shouldn't have, and have bought inventory off people that I didn't do a lot of research beforehand, or I didn't take the proper precautions. And so not doing that because I didn't know that you had to do that as a time is definitely some of the biggest setbacks, because it's really hard, especially losing money that you worked for. And so that definitely discourages you, but being able to learn from that and learn that every mistake, as long as you learn how to not make that mistake again, then it was worth doing, because now you're not going to make that mistake again. So I think just learning that that's part of the process and being able to adapt and grow from it is extremely important.
Yeah, the hardest thing for me is definitely the amount of like not only risk that you have to take, but you're also like continuously facing challenges, and sometimes you fail. Like obviously the biggest thing from that is like learning from those failures, but honestly like entrepreneurship is really hard, and you should expect to fail, but you just have to kind of keep pushing forward like through those points. So it's difficult, but like if it was easy, everyone else would be doing it.
Thank you guys. I definitely see like the risk is worth the reward, and also like you find some motivation and something to keep pulling you through all the challenges that you guys face, and learning from each struggle that comes across running your own business. So another question from June that she kind of had in there was, what support did Young Americans provide? We know that you guys are Spotlight applicants and winners, but what other kind of help did you seek through Young Americans before Spotlight, or what else have you done?
Yeah, Young Americans definitely helped me just be able to see the business side of things. So, I mean, like I said a bunch, is I started this just for fun. And my mom really wanted me to go to Young Americans and get a mentor. And she's like, you are doing a business right now. You just don't know it. Like, you should go get a mentor and learn how to do this the right way. And I was like, no, like, I'm just doing this for fun. And so eventually she convinced me to go get a mentor from Young Americans. And they were really able to help me see that the things that I was already doing was a business and I didn't even know it. And so they showed me what I was doing and what it's the business word for it is called that I didn't know before, and how to do it better than I was before that can help me sell more shoes and be able to reach more people. And so I feel like the biggest thing Young Americans has helped me with was just being able to see opportunity in things that I wouldn't have seen prior.
Yeah, for me, the two biggest things would honestly be the feedback I got on my applications. Like, I applied 5 times, um, and I only won once. So, like, that's back to the failure thing where you have to keep trying. And then I iterated my business based on the judges' feedback. Another big important thing is like the connections made through Young Americans. Um, their their mentor program was honestly huge for me. They were able to connect me with some amazing people, and these are the exact type of people you are trying to hang out with and ask questions to. And the more you're around those people, like the more your business grows, honestly, because they're already really successful. So those types of connections and mentors were honestly like meant a lot to me.
That's amazing to hear, guys, that like really finding someone to help guide you through a process and get their knowledge really inspired your businesses and to help you grow, especially with the mentorship program.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
see.
before we move on from that, just real quick, just a nice little plug. If you guys are looking for mentors, obviously if you win the competition, you do get a mentor, but you can also apply for a mentor without even applying for the competition. So if you are wanting to find a mentor around you, something that can, if you have specific help that you're wanting or just broader, generalized, you want an adult who's been through it, who can help answer some of your questions, you can either reach out to me, you can just call the center, you can go to our website. The mentorship stuff is all over, and we can help get you connected with somebody.
I think we've answered pretty much all the other questions. So if there's anybody who has a question on their mind now,
I had a question for Garret, actually, of how did your little contract that you got into for selling exclusively on those live streams, how did you get connected with that person or end up in that business deal?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's. Oh, and I just saw someone in the Q&A ask what my business is about. So, I started by just selling shoes, reselling shoes that I would buy for a cheaper price and then sell them for a more expensive price. And from there, I got into buying things in large quantities for a cheaper price and being able to sell them individually for more. And so, going back to that contract question, was a lot of things in business, and this goes back to what Shouken was saying as well, is once you do something so many times, like a lot of times it's not going to work, and sometimes it does. It's just doing something so many times that something does work. So let's say it's a 1 in 100 opportunity that you meet someone that's going to give you, that's going to help your business grow. Then if you go do something 99 times that doesn't help out, then the one time that it does, your business is going to grow. And so I was traveling to a lot of different sneaker conventions at the time. I was traveling about 2 times a month all over the country and being able to just go and sell my products. And from there, I was able to build a network with more people, and one of them being someone that introduced me to the platform. And from there, I got in contact with them. They were thought I would be a good fit. And then Adam, did you have a question as well?
Yes, thank you. I'm curious. I've heard from both of you how you've helped streamline your business in, hiring employees to do things for you, or even making a software that can just streamline your whole business. And I'm curious at currently right now where you find your time going and what you prioritize to continue to grow your business.
Yeah, so right now it's like I said, it is extremely time consuming, and it was something that I love to do, and so I didn't find an issue with it. And so I was faced with kind of a difficult decision going into college on, do I want to go really get involved and make the most out of my college experience, or make the most out of my business experience, because I really wanted to be involved in a lot of school extracurricular activities. I wanted to look into new things that might be interesting to me, and I kind of like had to make a decision what I wanted to dedicate my time to, which is important that you brought that question up. And so right now, a lot of what I do is scaled back from kind of the peak of my senior year and senior year summer. And I kind of realized that I prioritize my education and being able to build skills that I'm going to take on later on in my career a lot. And I really love my business and I love what I do. I just decided that building more skills that are going to help me in the future, I want to prioritize my time to at this point in my life. But as far as like streamlining operations and figuring out what's prioritized within like the tasks that you have to do, if that was your question, is I would just try to do everything myself at first and keep costs low, especially if you're not profitable as a company yet. And then from there, if it's something that is able to be done by someone else with minimal training, it's usually easier to go pay someone minimum wage to have them do that. And then something that requires a little bit more expertise or a little bit more training, or something that you could do better than someone else that's like maybe a little bit more, like for me, for example, I would be the one buying shoes because I knew the background and the market, and then I would hire people to pack boxes because it wasn't something that took a lot of training or a lot of things that I would have to do out of pocket to be able to allow them to do it. And so that's kind of how I prioritize things on kind of the experience level needed and how costly it would be to fit those roles.
Yeah, for me, it's honestly asking, like, what are the main bottlenecks right now and what's taking up the most time? And then obviously, like, trying to either automate that process or get someone else to do it, because that's all it is. You're just, like, trading your money back and doing more higher leverage things as you, like, level up as an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Alrighty, do we have any last minute questions coming in? Anybody want to be brave? You can send it in the chat if you want, or you can unmute and go ahead and ask.
Yeah, so my business has allowed me to kind of live by my own, which has been nice. I do have a separate job this summer, but like I said, this I'm not really doing for the money. I kind of wanted to focus a lot more on skills, so I have an internship. I'm really interested in finance, and so I am an intern at a real estate private equity firm, if anyone knows what that is, this summer. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, the business has been able to supply money for me to live on, which I'm really grateful for, because now I'm able to go do things that maybe pay less than going and getting a job, but help me build skills, which I feel like has been really important.
Okay, we have a question coming in about software you use to track your inventory, and then also taxes question. Everyone's favorite question to talk about.
Yeah, so to track inventory, there's something called Inventory Labs that I use. In terms of taxes, it's called like Keeper Labs or something, and then there I just basically submit all the receipts and invoices and stuff like that.
Yeah, as far as my inventory goes, when we were partnered with our live auction program, we would just put all our inventory into there, and then as things would sell and payments would go through, and we would see each step along the way how much inventory we still have available, how much is in the process of being shipped and is sold that needs to be shipped. So they kind of did that for me. And then as far as taxes goes, I have an accountant hired, which is, I think, if you are young and are able to do it yourself and like not have it super complicated, I wouldn't make it complicate your business. I think that taxes is something that you kind of have to think on later down the line, but at like entry level stages when you make your first couple sales, it wouldn't be something I'm super concerned about.
Yeah, one thing we talk a lot about in Youth Biz with taxes is just the first way to set yourself up for success with that is to just track everything. So whether it's like just a Google Drive account or it's a notebook that you keep in your room, every time you buy something that goes into the product you're making or you make a sale, making sure you're noting it, how much you spent, how much you made from that, what the date was, and then if you have a receipt for one of those things, keeping on to that, getting a fun folder or something that you can personalize and make it more fun than thinking about taxes themselves. But just starting those habits now when you're younger and not necessarily making as much money is a great habit to build so that once your business grows or you get a 9-to-5 job or different things, a part-time job when you're in high school, those skills kind of come into the same play and you can grow and expand on those so that you're able to actually pay your taxes. You don't necessarily have to pay for an accountant. You can find free programs online or just also your parents are great resources. They pay their taxes every year. So being able to talk to them. Also, the public library often has a lot of resources for taxes. So if you're really concerned and you want to talk to somebody for free, give the library a call. A lot of times they can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you brought that up, Carrie, because keeping good notes of what you buy, how much it costs, what you sell is really important in a lot of aspects. Not only are you able to see how much you're making each time and you can test new things and see if I buy more expensive product, can I sell it for more? How are ways I can make this cheaper? Can I sell it for more expensive? And it also just kind of serves as motivation, being able to see actual data on how you've grown and being able to see what does well and what doesn't to be able to grow. And then also taxes as well.
Awesome. And then just following up with that, the cheapest you can do that is with a notebook or a nice little Word document. Obviously, once there's a lot more going on, you can try and do you can pay for a fun spreadsheet that you like better. It's kind of like once you're an adult, like I budget my salary and how I spend my money, and I built my own spreadsheet for the first few years and then decided I wanted to buy a cool one that had a bunch of automations and graphics, so I spent like $10 on Etsy on a cool one. But that's, again, doing it for as free and cheap as you can for as long as you can, and then rewarding yourself by sticking with it, following through, and making money, and then spending a little bit of money to make it prettier, cooler, whatever you want it to be. Then you can kind of reward yourself with that. Sweet. Do we have any other last-minute questions? If not, we might go ahead and call it a night. Alrighty. Well, I don't see anything coming in. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's give a round of applause. You can clap, send the little clappy emojis, whatever. Thank you so much to Garret and Shouken for being with us this night. Oh, yes, go for it. Sorry. Oh, okay. Was somebody asking a question? Okay, guess not. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for being here. And we really appreciate you guys have a wealth of knowledge to share with everyone, and that was awesome. Alrighty, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you all guys, and you guys had great questions.
Perfect. All right, well, we did record this, so this will be sent out to everybody's email that registered. So if you want to follow up with anything, you want to rewatch anything, you can do that. You can, again, ask me with any questions as you fill out the application. The Spotlight application does close June 1st. So make sure you are completing that application if you want to participate, get those cash prizes, get that judge feedback, get that mentorship if you win. It's a great stepping stone for your business. So make sure you're prioritizing that over the next month. Alrighty, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good night.